This is a radio broadcast from the Good Boys Gone Bland. Seek shelter now. Hello and welcome to Good Boys Gone Bland, Season 7, Episode 3, Moonfall. This is your co-host, Denali.
I'm Ryan?
I'm Jace.
Hello.
That's a long pause. Were you thinking of an intonation to kind of complement ours?
Yeah. You kind of
just-
lost me. You threw a curveball at me 30 seconds in, and
Listen, I just feel like this movie kind of gave me like a skewed perspective, you know? Like I got kind of a taste of just kind of like this alternate reality, you know? It kind of just makes you think. And I'm just kind of questioning everything now,
Like-
you know?
one where people like Elon Musk in 2022.
Oh, man. That
Jesus.
did not age well. Or maybe in the...
came out this
I guess
year.
maybe in the makers,
It
the
came out
minds
this
of
year.
the people who made it, like, it did age well because that is a topic that we can really
We
get
can't
into
even.
later.
But yeah.
Oof, man. Oh, man. Yeah, nobody wanted to do it. I barely did, but we did see Moonfall this week.
Excuse me? This was
Did you wanna
you
see-
you
you
selected
wanted to
this
see-
movie.
Listen, I did it out of obligation. It wasn't because I wanted to do it, Ryan, but I knew we had a duty to watch this piece of duty because it came out this year. It's the most recent end-of-the-world movie we got on the books right now. And people might not want to see this thing. They don't want to spend their precious God-given time on HBO Max watching this shit. And they listen to our show to find out what happens, so that they don't have to do it.
Yuri came in while I was halfway through the movie, and she said, "Oh, I've seen this."
What?
I think she watched it on a plane, which
This
this movie's a plane movie.
it's a plane
It's
movie.
this movie was straight to plane.
Is there plane only releases where it
should
just they have
be.
a program with Delta? I feel like that would be this.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Like how Netflix is making their own movies?
Yeah, what if
Like
Delta
American
funded?
Airlines
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe.
Oh my god. I can imagine like Southwest has like those like
They're good. The Southwest ones are pretty good.
Southwest
They're
are-
like buddy comedies, you know? I feel like Palm Springs, you know, the movie with Andy Samberg.
yeah,
Ooh,
That one, that feels like a Southwest.
yeah.
low
Exclusive.
stakes, laid back. It's a good writing team though.
This
gets the job
movie's
done.
like a Spirit Airlines.
yeah.
movie.
This is
like they make you pay to watch it, and then you're like halfway through, and they're like, "Oh, you have
And
to
it's
pay
so
to watch
long.
the second half."
Because have you seen those like Spirit Airlines or Frontier itineraries that come up on like Kayak? They're always twice as long as every other itinerary because they
fly
ship
to
you all
Antarctica
over the
first
country.
and- yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had people tell us before, you know, that they're glad that we review bad movies, that they don't have to see them. Like I've had people DM me that.
Oh.
So we're taking the hit, guys.
You're
We
welcome.
we saw Moonfall. We're not going to say what we thought about it yet, okay? Because we might have liked this.
Yeah, I take back my comment. It was just off the cusp. It was,
Yeah.
some would say improv. For
Improv.
me to say that this movie, you know, is a Frontier Airlines movie.
Yeah, we were just playing. We're playing in the space.
Yeah.
And you know, speaking of like playing in the space,
Whoa.
it's been a while since we done a little improv, you know, like actual improv, because since we've been back, I don't know how many improv sessions we've had. I've been doing a lot of studying. I've been watching like improv videos on YouTube to become a better coach for you guys. And then one thing I did see in a lot of improv sessions. Now I've been to like 4 improv live shows. Okay, so it's a
Woof.
lot of time watching professionals in the paint, you know. And one thing that they do that I forgot to implement in previous episodes is audience questions. You know, they're like, "Hey, what's something you ate this morning?" And the guy's like, "A golf ball," and then you know they kind of pick it and you incorporate it into the scene. So what I did this time was ask our Instagram audience, just for you know names out of a hat, things to incorporate in scenes, and we got an outpouring of suggestions. I did not realize how many people wanted us to say some of this shit. So we've got settings, we've got words, we've got song lyrics to incorporate I'm going to try to spread it out, make sure everybody gets a little chance on here. But if you didn't hear your suggestion, I'm sorry. There was a lot.
I would like to say also, if there's an easier way, if you want to get your words on the air, you don't have to wait until, Denali sends one of these out on Instagram. Just write us a review.
Write us a gosh darn
Send us an
review.
email.
Yes.
And we will read it.
Fan fiction.
On the air.
Yeah, send us that way or attach it to your Venmo description. Just kind of whatever you want us to say on the air.
Hey, Denali. God, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, just pay me. Send it to Denali on Venmo. And whatever has the highest number, I will say on air.
You guys
Or
are our
we should
only
not
fans.
be just saying the highest number.
So
we should
pay
be saying
Denali.
anything. We'll take $1.
Anyways, so we're going to do some improv. All right? We're going to do it. And in case people don't know, it's a theatrical art. We've practiced it on the show many times in an audio format where we create a scene, an improvised scene, and try to get some yucks out of our audience. Liven things up. It's a tough situation right now. We're in a bleak season, and I figured we should liven things up for people. So who wants to go first? Do we have any volunteers? Jace? Okay, we'll do Jace. Do you want to do a scene with Ryan first?
You have anything, you got anything solo? What's up?
Oh, we can do a solo.
Because
Yeah,
fuck
you wanna
that,
do
I want
monologues?
Ryan in the scene.
We can do a
monologue.
Yeah, Jace, if you want to start with monologues, this is done.
If you
in
guys want to
improv.
just ice me out of this whole bit and slowly face me out of the podcast,
No,
that's
Ryan.
fine.
Listen. Okay. Jace, I'll have you do a monologue for me, okay? And we've never done this before. So if this doesn't work, we can just delete the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, by the way, for not making me do it.
So you'll do the monologue after. So there you have an object that I want you to incorporate into your monologue.
Mm-hmm.
The object is a pirate hat. This is a suggestion by Kaimi. And just kind of start us off, introduce our monologue section, and you're going off where it is pirate hat, then we can transition into a double scene.
Clap, clap. Clap, clap. Clap, clap. It's my Foley work.
Okay, yeah.
I reach down to pick up my hat. There's not much left of it. The world. Not after the Marianas Trench rose. Rose straight out of the ocean. Broke right through my ship.
Oh, excuse me?
And by God, all I've got left of my first mate and lover, Ryan, is his hat.
Are you Scottish?
That was brilliant.
I
Jace,
don't know.
First of all, just character immersion. That was brilliant. That was a great
wow,
monologue.
You went way harder than I'm going to go at any point during this episode.
Love it, Jace. Okay, Ryan, I'll have you do the next monologue.
No, please. Can we just go into a normal? Do you know
So
how hard it is for me to do normal sessions? We get complaints.
Listen,
about
Ryan,
our improv sessions because they involve me.
We do not get complaints. Okay. I'll have an object for you to incorporate into your scene. Okay. And listen, we can delete this if it doesn't work, but I just want you to do one just for the exercise. Please just do it for the exercise. Okay. Ryan, your scene is with a slinky. This is suggested by our friend Eric.
Eric Bolton?
Yeah, Eric, our boy Eric.
I don't want to give Eric Bolton a shitty monologue that's going to get deleted.
Well, you better do a good job. It's with a slinky. Ryan, just inhabit. It doesn't even have to be a character. You could just be talking about slinkies, the history, how you want to use them, whatever you want. The world is open. Just give us a short little monologue just with Ryan.
What the fuck do you want me to say about slinkies?
That's good. Keep going.
You know how simple they are? I never got slinkies to actually work. I hate slinkies because, they suck. I don't want to talk about slinkies. Slinkies are really overrated. They never work right. And as when you're a kid, you can't afford good things, and good slinkies might work, but I only had the shitty slinkies. And I would put them on one stair, and I would push it, and it would just fall right over it, and it would never go to the second stair. And that made me really sad. And I guess I just have a bad association with slinkies because they would always get tied up.
Let it out.
Listen,
Yeah.
Charles, we're really getting into the core of your being here, okay? So keep it coming.
Well, I guess it started one day when I took a slinky. All I had was a magazine, and there was like.
Where'd you
it was
find
like
that magazine?
It was in the woods, and there was a wood, and then there was next to it there was like this bottle, and it had like like one of those like it's like a lotion bottle, and then there was a slinky.
Okay. I think you're losing the audience. but I'm a God-fearing man.
And it just started raining.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan, for the slinky monologue. And then I guess for everything being fair, I'll do a monologue as well. Let me pull up the list. Okay, this was suggested by Julie.
Oh.
And her word was wand. Okay, so I'll try to I'll do a monologue about
fucking wand.
About wands. Okay.
Wand.
Yeah. So I mean, this is funny because I was actually rewatching the Harry Potter movies the other night with Amber.
Oh.
And I thought it was fucking crazy how they just have like a wand store and they don't do any background checks for the people who come in. Like they give these things, which are literal guns. Like you can kill somebody with a wand from a distance. You can do multiple things. You can take over their mind. You can just make things appear out of thin air. It's actually more dangerous than a gun, I think. And this is kind of like leading to my larger conclusion that Harry Potter is kind of like this right-wing fantasy. Children are allowed to purchase these things from stores with no vetting. Also, Ollivander, I did not see any exchange in money. Harry Potter just rolled up in there and was like, "Oh, hey, like, can I have a fucking gun?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, definitely. Try all these. Actually, just shoot it around my store." He gave it to him, and then the whole logic of the safety of Harry Potter is that everybody has wands, and that, like, the only thing that could stop a bad guy with a wand is, like, a bunch of kids with wands. It's a really fucked up universe, and I feel like it's never talked about in today's society. So for my larger
every
thesis,
magical society where children begin
Yes.
learning magic at some age, because we should do background checks on 8-year-olds.
background checks on wands. I mean, first of all, Harry Potter has the soul of Voldemort inside him, okay? This kid should not get a fucking AR, all right? And his wand was pretty good. It's pretty fucked up. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Cancel Harry Potter, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too far off, I think, especially with,
The gun has to choose the owner.
Could you imagine?
Just grab a
That's the
pistol.
American version of Harry Potter.
Like the wind starts blowing when you grab a pistol. It's like, oh.
It's like
Your parents
Wanted.
were killed by a pistol just like this.
Oh, dude.
That's what Ollivander fucking says to Harry. It's so fucked up. Okay, let's on that great note. I don't want to bring the audience down. Let's do scenes together. Ryan, I guess
That was your monologue.
that was my monologue.
I thought
Sorry,
you were going on
I just
rant. A pre-monologue rant.
sorry for my skewed political monologue. Jace, Ryan, I'll have you guys do a scene. I was given settings out of a hat.
I paid you $15 to coach me in improv, not talk about politics, and you just took up a good portion
Who
of our
said that?
class by this isn't even like at a college setting. This is like we're in behind a PF Chang's.
Yeah. See that? Use that. Use that in the scene. I feel
got
your
it.
anger. I feel your energy. Hold that for a second. Okay, you and Ryan, your setting is the beach. This is submitted by Kylie. And let's see here. I'm gonna spice things up. You're setting. You're at the
beach?
beach, and I'm gonna give you guys a relationship here. Okay.
Crab. Can I be crab if it's
Okay.
crab?
I heard crab. Okay, beach. Your actual relationship is gonna be clockmaker and king. This was submitted
Crab.
by Amber.
King. Oh, I got it. Let's go. I am the king crab. What time is it?
Yes, sire. I have not made the clock yet that you have requested from me. I'm sorry.
Why?
Because you made me walk all this way when you took the last horse.
Did
Sir
you go
King
sideways?
Crab. In order to speed up my travel, no, I did not go sideways.
Sideways? You didn't go sideways?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The royal decree? Are you no crab?
No, no, sire. I'm not a crab.
You're not a crab?
Is this a crab accent?
We have a lobster. Are you a lobster spy?
No, you hired me to make you a clock.
Where did you get your clocks from?
I make
Crab, Switzerland?
them. They make great clocks, but they cannot best my quality. Sire, yes.
Show me. What proof have you?
Let me take this herring.
Oh, herring? Is it
Herring.
fresh? Fresh?
It is fresh.
Fresh herring?
Would you like to nibble it to test?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Snippy. Oh, snippy, snippy.
Well,
Ah.
now I can see how readily you devoured that herring that it is approximately dinner time.
Whoa! You do? Are you the clock?
I am the clock.
And scene. That was a good. I like how you guys tied it up. Great character work, Ryan. You broke out of your typical role because when you think of king,
Yeah, I'm not usually a king crab.
you usually don't play crabs, which I appreciated. I was thinking you're gonna go London with that one, so you took a big risk and it paid off.
Fuck! Damn it.
Yeah, and I appreciate one improv session without the London accent.
Well, you shouldn't have said anything because it was not near the front of my mind.
Jace, nice job as well, bringing that to a close and creating a logical end for this. A herring clock, TM, maybe just in case. Okay, Jace. How about you jump in the ring with me? I'm working you today. We had you go first, and then you do two back to back. All right, you're an aspiring actor. You gotta jump in these scenes. Okay, so I'm gonna pull another setting out of a hat here. And see, let's see someone I haven't used yet. Okay, this is a suggestion from Joe. This is at Nakatomi Plaza.
Where's
Nakatomi Plaza
Is that
from
in Tokyo?
Cyberpunk 2077?
I feel like that was in Die Hard, and I feel like there's a lot of movie
Oh,
nerds
yeah.
like screaming at
totally
their
right.
headset right now.
It sounds like somewhere, I don't know, some.
It does. I mean, it's
Sounds like
like
a
a
real place.
Japanese name. I feel
Yeah,
we're
sounds like
thinking
a real
cyber.
place.
Yeah, like Neo
There's
Tokyo.
like plazas that are famous. Like there's that crossing in Tokyo that's famous. I know that.
And this is submitted by another podcast called Movie Boners. And they suggested
they got us beat.
it's boners with a Z. Thank you for submitting.
Oh, thanks for the clarification.
Thanks, movie boners.
And it's Bouncer and Rabble Rouser is the scene. In Nakatomi Plaza, I'm going to give us one more variable in here that I haven't used yet. It's going to be song lyrics. I had people submit song lyrics that we have to work into the scene. I'll use the one submitted by Amber, Santa Baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Something that's a little seasonal.
Is that a real lyric?
Santa Baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight?
Is that a real lyric?
Santa Baby.
Slip
don't know.
a Rolex under the tree for me.
Is that DMCA? It's been like 100 years, right, Shirley? Like,
If 18 different artists, including her, Kenny Rogers,
Michael Bublé.
Michael Bublé, can...
You both said that differently and both
I had it wrong,
incorrectly.
yeah.
Mikhail Bublé.
I think
okay.
if they can all do it, we can do it.
We can do
Legally.
it. All right, Nakatomi Plaza, bartender and unruly patron, Santa Baby, hurry down the chimney.
Bartender or bouncer?
You said bouncer and rabble rouser the first
Bouncer
time.
and rabble rouser, excuse me. And scene. Hey, get your stinking hands off me.
Guy, okay.
I said get.
Stop.
You're not touching me.
Stop it.
Okay,
Okay, calm down,
I'm
please.
stopping. I'm calm. You're
You're not calm. You know why we brought you out here?
Yes, I do. But I might need you to explain it to me.
Yeah. Your Santa outfit for the SantaCon we're having?
Oh, what's the
Subpar.
problem?
Subpar.
What's the problem? Yeah, I got the hat and many other things.
Half the problem is you sewed a butt flap onto it because you're wearing a onesie.
How the fuck am I supposed to take a shit? You think Santa has time to unbuckle and just like fucking do his business? I mean, he's using over 7 billion toilets a night.
Listen, I'm sure the Santa Claus is a great guy, but I here am making sure the rest of the guests in this house, in this apartment, can have fun, okay? And you keep talking about your butt flap, and then
Santa's gotta take a
subsequently,
shit.
I heard that you showed it to 3 people.
Okay, I was pretty proud of the butt flap. I was asking if people had some Velcro or another button because it's flapping open. Okay, I'm living a fucking nightmare here. I've got a square of open ass in this Santa outfit. All right, how would you feel? I'm having to do face forward the whole time I'm
Okay, I
interacting
get it.
with
I
people
would
in
be
here.
pretty uncomfortable too, but it doesn't seem like you know the owner that well. So you come to this setting with your
owner
SantaCon
of the
outfit
apartment?
with a butt flap open. It seems like you're a guest of a guest. You're a +1+1, and you're showing people your butt cheeks. And that's
I
why
don't
we're
know
having this
anyone here.
conversation. You don't know anyone
just-
here.
I just thought it'd be an icebreaker.
Did you get in before the bouncer shift change?
I just kind of I broke in and then just people started showing up
You
and
broke
then
into Nakatomi Plaza.
I farted and the buttons came right off and then I couldn't get anything put back on. Can you just be a little more understanding?
Hold on. Did you say you farted and the buttons came off?
Yeah, I farted so hard the buttons came off.
Can you do it again?
They flew straight off. If I had some buttons, I'd probably blow the barn doors
I don't
open
care about
again.
the buttons.
But
I want to see. Can you fart with that velocity again?
if I farted hard enough, would you let me back in?
I think I would. I think that would be so cool.
That is fucking degrading. You're not a bouncer. How about you kiss my ass? How about you hurry down my chimney tonight, you fucking asshole? You could take my farts and shove it up my ass.
Scene? Were you doing JFK?
I was feeling JFK towards the end of that. I feel like a drunk JFK would do this. I don't know. Okay. Notes for me, I did a great job, flawless as usual. Notes for Jace, another good one. You rolled with the scene.
I feel like if I was a bouncer and somebody told me that they farted
so
their buttons
hard.
off, I'd be like,
Show me.
show me again.
Fucking show me and register that with the government. Okay, who hasn't got? Jason, Ryan, you've gone?
It's
Is it my turn
you
with
two.
Ryan?
Yeah.
That's us two.
All right,
The
me
two
and Ryan.
masters.
The two masterminds. All right, let me pull up and see what else we haven't done yet. Okay, I asked people to submit a word to use in a scene. This is a word submitted. I'll do another Kylie word. This is ubiquitous, and then I'm going to give us another setting here. Bowser's Castle, submitted by Eric, and then I'll find a relationship for us here.
Oh, that's good. I like this.
And then this is submitted by, let's do a Kaimi one, Actor and Bodyguard. Actor and Bodyguard,
perfect.
Bowser's Castle, and I believe ubiquitous is the word, and scene.
Hello, I'm James Bond.
Listen, I don't. I know you're trying to not break character right now. I don't think we're on the right set.
You what?
It's just the vibe of this place. I feel like it's not right. I don't think we're in like a
You don't
villain's
like
lair.
pops?
Okay, so just Steven, I really need you to just be straight with me right now. I know you've been doing like the
I'm
method.
James Bond.
Okay, James. Okay, I need you to like think carefully for. 'cause
Hello, lovely.
Please don't do that. Hello, lovely to me. I don't like that. There's these like speeding. There's these speeding bombs everywhere. There's these turtles swinging around.
Sorry, James Bondage to set. James Bondage to set.
Hello.
They're calling.
That's me they're talking about.
Yeah, I heard him on the PA. I think we need to get through this course to get to the other side here. James, there's a
Hello,
lot of
what's this?
fireballs.
What's this? What's this little critter? This little brown critter. We got this
isn't that-
little thing. Oh, we got them teeth on him.
Is
Look
that
at this little guy.
a Goomba? Is that what they're called? I feel like that's a slur. Is the little mushrooms?
You can't
James,
call him that.
I think you do have to step on it.
You what? In my
You're gonna have to
almighty shoes?
Yes, I think we're gonna need to get through this.
Well, I just don't like to. You my bodyguard. You step
James,
on.
Steven, your accent's slipping. Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll stomp on it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh Jesus. Okay, I did not like that at all.
Oh, look at this. Look at
that
this
was
giant
super gross.
mushroom.
That was super gross.
What did
Am I
you-
taller?
That was the Goomba for the scene. James Bondage.
You what? Bodyguard? What's your name? Bodyguard? Are you? It's probably like Lewis.
I guess, yeah, it is Lewis. Thank you.
Whoa.
And I do feel like I'm a little taller now after stomping on that thing. But if we can just keep continuing, the PA is asking for us on the other side. It looks like there's a long jump here. James, do you feel like you can clear this?
Me? I'm James Bond.
What is this? What are you?
You got motorbike? We got motorbike. I do my own stunts. You my bodyguard, not my stunt man.
Okay, James. We can get on this motorbike here. I don't know why it's here. I think it belonged to a crew member, and maybe we can motorcycle out of here. All right, let's just try to be.
These steering things. It's not like they have them in America. I know you're from America. The steering is not ubiquitous.
Steven, and scene. That was.
I just started to do any accent that popped in my mind.
I think you definitely moved into southern Louisiana there in the end.
And thank you, Jace, for incorporating a flavor as well as the PA.
Yeah, that was nice because we were just spinning our wheels. I was just saying, I'm James Bond.
So there you have it, folks. That's how it's done. That's how the GBGBs do it. For those of you who submitted answers, thank you. We're gonna probably try to do audience submissions again, and maybe for our next live show, we'll do an audience submission. Can you imagine if we did a live show?
Yeah,
I'd do it.
This has been something that I've.
All those
I want to.
podcasts-
I want to do
yeah.
two things. I want to do a live show,
Okay. Mhm.
and I want to Mystery Science Theater or something.
Yeah, you want to do like a riff tracks kind of
yeah.
talk during the movie, like a live.
Get something
live
that we
pod.
can get a license to.
But live shows make money, man. We need to be fucking like bands. They make most of their money on tour. Like we need to take this thing on tour. We need to hit up every podcast con in every state.
What would we go live on?
I'm gonna look up events in Los Angeles, and I'm just gonna the first event I'm gonna just take a look at here.
You don't mean live on the internet. You mean live in person somewhere.
Live in person, baby. Look, there is a Krampus festival where I think it's like a bar crawl.
Yes, dude.
And I feel like we can play in one of
Dude.
these bars.
Remember how last year I told you my office coworkers and I were doing like a Krampus, like a secret Krampus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was hilarious because it was like pagan and like non-denominational.
Right.
And
How'd it go?
This year I got negative feedback from the new people who weren't here
Oof.
last year. They're like, "This is a dumb idea. We're not doing it." And I'm like, "Look, I know it's a dumb idea. It's my job to host the office's Secret Santa. Like that's my job. I don't want to do it. I don't want to participate. I wish we didn't do it. But it's my job to do it. And so I'm not doing a boring ass Secret Santa. I'm making this fun in the only way I know how, and that's to make weird like references to like things that I think are a lot more heavy metal than Santa."
Yeah.
And they're like, "It's just weird."
Yeah.
But it was too out there, I guess.
Krampus. It's like a mainstream move. Have them listen to our Krampus episode.
Hell no, I'm not telling those weirdos anything.
And okay, let's get into Moonfall, guys. People are begging
okay.
and pleading for our hot GBGB's take on this hot movie that came out this year. This is another freshie. We don't throw a lot of freshies to our audience. And it's on HBO. So if you guys want to see this movie and you want to see it
How
without
did
spoilers,
this thing end up on HBO on the home box office?
I don't know. And what I was going to say is don't see this movie. Just listen to this episode. Do not
They
give
lost
HBO.
a shit ton of money.
It's one of the biggest box office flops of all time. Flaps. And it's also one of the most expensive indie films ever made. We watched an indie movie.
That's an
fuck did you
oxymoron.
just say
That's a
to me?
jumbo shrimp.
This thing costs like 160 mil.
They consider this
I would rather
An indie
take a
film?
look. I'd rather watch a video of Jace smearing his own shit all over a
Okay.
like a woodsy outhouse.
Smearing his shit on a woodsy. I mean, I would watch that just, I think, with no strings attached.
Yeah.
But point taken. And I feel like a lot of people felt the same way opening weekend. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo right now. We haven't played the box office game in a while. This thing debuted at number 2 in the box office in February 4th, 2022. $3 million, which is jack shit.
What? $3 million?
There's a certain other indie movie that beat it out this weekend. Can you guess what movie this
Hold
is.
on.
In February.
In February.
An indie movie? Does
2022.
A24 count?
Yes, we'll say that. Yeah. And this made triple the amount of money as Moonfall.
Jackass 4.
That's right. Jackass Forever.
No way.
Jackass Forever debuted at number 1 that weekend at $9 million.
I was seriously, I was right.
Yes, you were right.
How?
What the fuck?
People wanted to see Jackass.
Humans smearing shit all over things.
They literally smear shit.
Yeah, at least they do it with class.
And then,
So I would literally rather watch someone smear human shit all over something than watch this movie. And so America agrees with me. I was just saying something kind of silly and outlandish that would be kind of gross to normies. But then no, literally.
the people have spoken.
That's what happens.
And then number 3, Moonfall narrowly beat out Spider-Man No Way Home on its 50th day in theaters. No Way Home made $2 million 50 days in.
Yeah, because I watched No Way Home in January.
Yeah,
And I was pretty late. Nobody was in the theater.
Pretty bad opening. And I know you have to kind of make some mental adjustments because of COVID, but No Way Home blew records. Despite that still. So I really feel like there's no excuse here. This movie was just not highly anticipated by anyone, which is deserved. So I guess let's get into it. Since this was my pick this week, I'm sorry, guys. I'll just run through a quick synopsis of this movie, and then I guess we can kind of dig in.
I think the synopsis is pretty much covered by the title.
Moonfall.
That's how everybody who wrote this movie talks. Moonfall. Patrick Wilson. Go back.
And there you have it, folks. That's pretty much the movie. The moon's fallen because of a giant ferrofluid goo ball, basically.
Whoever wrote this movie does not know what ferrofluid means.
I don't think
nanorobots.
They know anything. Jace, okay, science expert.
I think
just
ferrofluid
stay in
is
your
actually
lane.
a good way to visualize it, though.
Yeah, you ever see those cool Instagram oddly satisfying videos? That's pretty much what the alien looks like. It's an alien. It's going inside our moon. And by the way, the moon is hollow.
What?
It is a man-made object made by man, aka humans from billions of years ago. This is a long-standing conspiracy theory that the moon is not real. It is a giant megastructure, and this other alien force is trying to eradicate humanity by destroying the moon and sending it straight at Earth like a giant asteroid. There's a lot of science-y hand-waving here that we can get into, but basically you have Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry and was it Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones?
Yeah, what's his name? John Bradley or something?
Yeah, John Bradley. Originally, Josh Gad was casted in that role, which I think
so
really
much better.
I know, and then he couldn't get in because of scheduling conflicts. Also, another thing, Michael Pena was originally supposed to be Stanley Tucci. It would have been our second Stanley Tucci apocalypse dude, but that didn't work out either. I think due to COVID stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty okay cast, and it just kind of spirals out of control quickly. Patrick Wilson is a washed-up, divorced astronaut dad. And he is tasked with sending an old bomb to the nuke or to the moon, and effectively shooting an EMP and saving the world. And I think we can kind of dig in from here. That's kind of the loose mega structure of this movie.
So you guys didn't watch the Japanese 2006 film Moonfall?
Jesus, could you imagine?
Wait, what is that one about?
Yoshiko loved her daughter, Chisa, and husband, Kenji. They were her family, her way of life. One day, she took Chisa out on a jetty and, holding her close, plunged into the lake.
Oh, Jesus.
This is sad. This is
sounds fucked up and sad.
Ooh.
Let's call this Ayaku Shinju.
It does look like the 2006 Moonfall had better reviews, just barely.
Barely, yeah.
The premise of this movie is fucking wild, and it takes us back to a time when conspiracy theories were kind of harmless and fun, where it was the moon is not real versus some racist, anti-Semitic, insane conspiracy theories that we have.
Well, sort of, right? That's obviously the undertone is that hey, you need to pay attention to these people who are challenging the government because they might actually be right. And what if they were?
Yeah, it's not great. And I to kind of dig into the conspiracy of it all. Like, have you guys heard of like this moon megastructure theory? Like the
Not
moon
about the
rang
moon
like a
megastructure,
bell?
no, but I've also obviously heard that it's fake, and I've obviously heard that like the landing was fake. That's very true, and I've also heard that it's flat or like
You say
a
that's very
projection.
true? Do you think the moon landing was fake?
Oh, did I say that?
You're like, that's very true.
No, not very
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Very common is
Right,
probably
yeah.
what I meant. And no, but
I'm
there's
just
a lot
saying,
of
I'm asking questions.
the megastructures is interesting because in this movie they also mentioned something from sci-fi called a Dyson sphere,
Yeah.
and that's like I'm not going to say real thing, but it's like something from a science fiction concept type of idea where a high functioning interstellar society would use the energy from suns to, they would harness that energy and use it to power their own society. And like, so
That's cool.
they
Yeah.
That's
throw
fucking
in-
cool.
They throw in buzzwords like that, like, oh, a megastructure, like a Dyson sphere. Rah, rah, rah. And then someone
I
can
got a
Google
Dyson
that stuff
sphere
and then be
upstairs.
like, yeah. And someone can Google that stuff, and I feel kind of vindicated when they say, "Oh, the moon is a structure too." So that's what I don't like, is that it takes like cool sci-fi and messes with it.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. And I like how once they kind of explain kind of the ancient humans trope, that humans, are really old and they repopulate the thing. I like how they had to explain it again verbatim immediately afterwards, because the people were banking on the audience would be too stupid to understand it. Like, things were just doubled back and over explained. Like,
In
a lot in this
the
movie.
audience's defense, it was really dumb.
It was dumb.
It was
yeah.
number one, overcomplicated, and number two, didn't make sense. Like, so all of science is wrong, not just like astronomy looking at this one particular moon. Like, evolution is wrong, biology is wrong, genetics, study of all that stuff is all wrong. Like, it required a much bigger retcon of science than I think was necessary.
Yeah, a bit
think,
of a Prometheus. Yeah.
A major flaw in this and what we're kind of tiptoeing around is that, or even have said, is that this movie takes so many things from other sci-fi tropes and then does them terribly. Like, it was a 130-minute movie, so probably 115 minutes into the movie, one day, AI went crazy.
Yeah,
It's like-
oh my god, why?
Why? Yeah. And why
It
did it,
became
in the way they showed it,
self-aware.
it started in this random little girl's bedroom clock.
Yeah, and also, why was the AI was like a physical thing? Like, AI isn't like a monster flowing around. Like, AI is a kind of a concept, like in a computer. It's not
You ever seen an AI, Ryan?
like well, that's the thing. It's like when other things in sci-fi say, "Oh, we have an AI," it's really just like software put in something. But this made it seem like it was an organism.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't mind that conceptually because I think that's pretty fucking cool. The idea that in the future we have nanotechnology that is a computer
Physical, or-
that helps us, that is physical. That's like, you can be like, man, I need a hot pocket right now, and your clock opens up and a gas cloud flies out and cooks you a hot pocket.
The cloud from Lost cooks you a hot pocket. Yeah, and the introduction of this crazy ass cloud, I think, was pretty wild too, because there's a scene where Halle Berry's watching the screen, the comm screen, and sees this cloud, like alien liquid robot, shoot through a human being's head, and she has no reaction. And so same with the people watching, they're like, oh damn, so aliens are real.
Huh.
Like,
Yeah.
there was no
That was actually really
Fuck.
heavy metal. That was like really cool.
it was traumatic
And-
to watch, like, for a human. Like,
It reminds me of the Fifth Element had this at the end where they were interacting with the stones, and then CGI stuff came out, and the actors were told, "Oh, just imagine like it's activating and stuff."
yeah.
And so the different actors were looking like different places in that scene
Right.
because they all had different ideas of what it would look like. In this, you could tell that Halle Berry and those characters were not actually watching that. Like, that was a green screen that they were looking at. Because they were just like, wow, that would have really sucked if our faces got torn to shreds.
Nah, shit, I've seen Lemon Party. I'm not impressed.
One of them is like a literal like 4chan conspiracy theory. He's like, I see shit like that every day. Fuck it. I feel like this kind of segues into what you were talking about, Ryan, about kind of the messaging of this movie, where you're kind of validating conspiracy theories and just kind of weird perceptions about like technology and young people. And like, I feel like this movie had a lot of weird conservative humor and undertones, kind of like Armageddon and a little bit like The Core. I mean, starting out, there is Toto by Africa is playing, which is like a 7-year-old meme. It's kind of like elbow nudgy, kind of like, remember this song? Like, oh, strap in. And like the two main characters are going through divorces, like emotionally distant main character, and then they're kind
and
of
they
talking
say,
about,
that's my work wife.
Dude.
right, yeah,
Which is something that like exited the work lexicon probably 15 years ago because it is terrible, and you should not say that, and you should not think that.
I think older people still say it.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I
think
mean.
they
Honest,
do.
I don't think. Yeah. I can see where the target. Yeah.
And like when the moon started going to shit, like immediately they're like, looting and fucking killing are happening everywhere. You need to defend
that's
yourself.
a good point.
Like,
That's a really good point because that's a huge like anti young
Yeah.
generation thing going on in conservative circles. Is like whenever anything happens or any protests, they're always trying to say it's looting. Yeah.
yeah, and
I would
like, there was
agree.
this- Mhm.
I'm going to make it clear that I agree that people from
Yeah.
outside of good causes come to events where there are large people and cause problems. I do think if the moon was literally crashing into the earth,
Oh, yeah.
that people would start rioting and stealing everything and going into humanity is pretty much shitty. We're going to
steal
do
an
anything we
Xbox.
can to survive. Yeah, but okay, so I can see.
That was I totally agree. Like that was fine. I think that overall the same director
yeah,
already did that in
Yeah.
Day After Tomorrow, and it was good. Those scenes were fine, and this movie was so basic and pandering though. Like it was very obviously an intent to fearmonger, and okay. Let's make this very clear. There was two things going on. There was Patrick Wilson's characters with Halle Berry and John Bradley. They were trying to stop the moon from coming down. Then there was a bunch of family
Completely
members
irrelevant plot.
yeah.
that were going to Colorado and driving on like mountain roads. Colorado has numerous interstates, I will say that. But that plot took about half of the movie, and
Yeah.
a lot of that had to deal with the looting and stuff, especially like the vigilantism and raiding.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that has been done better in so many different pieces of media that this director had to get outside financing from like indie, you call this an indie movie. And this script and this director is so terrible that he was not given financing by Hollywood.
Yeah.
I
And
was
then was-
looking. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm that's basically my thing. Like it's so bad he wasn't giving money by Hollywood. Then the scenes are not going to be done tastefully. Like it's not like he couldn't get funding because it was such an awesome movie.
Right.
Two of the major, I think. So I was trying to find a statistic for it because I think that would be better than me just commenting on it. But two of the major, the first production house or company listed as providing funding for this is called like Moonfall something UK. So it's like they made an LLC to put money into to fund this project. And then the second two are they secured a majority of this funding from China, which I don't know if that gives them say, the people who funded it, say in how the movie's made. But yeah, he obviously clearly had to go primarily.
There was
outside
mention
Hollywood.
of a awesome Chinese probe that saved the day. I
Yeah.
feel like that was kind of like a little, but
Yeah, and the Chinese exchange student character who was very ham-fisted into the
it's like
plot
very
line.
prominent. Like,
Please. So what we're talking about the family and like
Yeah.
the student. I was like, literally, they went in the scene. I was like, oh, is that like her wife? And then
Yeah, it was
no, and
framed
then it wasn't her
weird, yeah.
wife. And then it was like, is it her child? And then it's like, no. It's like,
And
what
then
is this
literally she's
character?
like,
And
I'm
it's
an exchange student.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
And then like the exchange student is the one doing all of the parenting.
yeah.
Did you notice that? She's using
Yeah,
the
she-
exchange student for like as the help.
That was that whole all of that backstory was just so bizarre, including like kind of to get back to kind of like the looting and shit, like, you know, the side plot of giving the kid a gun and being like, you need to protect yourself. And like
Yes.
the rage bait robbery scene. And then
And
there's like all
Michael Pena's character
and he's
saying
like this
the sissy
meek
stepdad that we all hate.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that like, you know, took the astronaut's wife.
Took
the
your
astronaut
wife.
saved these American lives and got kicked out of liberal NASA. And his wife divorced him for some, you know, liberal from Colorado. And he picks up a gun and he's like, I hate guns.
Yeah. And then he shoots it and he's like, oh, that felt good. And you're like supposed to be like, yeah. Just, and then down to, I don't want to like belabor this too long, but like I feel like another dadcore trope is to take like an old ship out of a museum and use it IRL. It happened in Battleship where they take like the 1940s ship out, or
Happened
like
in Sahara.
Transformers. And it's just like they take it out of retirement and use it to save the world. And I feel like that's kind of like a old divorced dad fantasy where they're like, I'm just waiting for my time. Just that overshadowed the movie, where it's just, it felt like it was just a lot of weird signaling, and I felt like it was pandering to a very specific audience.
Can I pose a question?
Yeah, please.
Would this movie have done better at the box office if season 8 of Game of Thrones was better?
Wait, hold on. So you think Samuel Tarly had a Game of Thrones fans didn't watch because of him?
Yeah.
I feel like a
Because that's
lot
kind
of
of
people.
what I am thinking about everybody who's involved in that Game of Thrones series.
I think it would have done better if they didn't have Patrick Wilson in the lead. I think Patrick
Well.
Wilson sucks.
I think
Oh,
Patrick Wilson was
Jace.
a consolation. They're like, we got who?
I'm gonna
Holy
be honest.
shit,
I was
Mr.
so
Kirkland himself.
fucking uninspired by Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry and their acting in this that I was like every time a scene that you're supposed to care so dearly about would happen, like when Halle Berry was like, I work for the American people and you're keeping
That
them in the
was so
dark.
bad.
And it's like, oh God.
Jace, I wrote that scene down because it was so bad.
Like, you were always gunning for my job. Now you can have it. Here. It's like,
Yeah, if
And
you want to
why
ever
is
see
NASA
like,
in charge of this? Like,
Yeah, what
like
the fuck?
okay,
Like-
okay. Well, I that's way too stupid of a question because obviously it's so they can bash NASA. But,
Right. Because Elon's gonna fix it. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of the whole
There's
plot
already
of
a
this
space
movie,
program.
right?
So the other thing is most of my notes are taken up from like horrible scientific inaccuracies. And I'm not
yeah.
a scientist, but I love physics and I love all that stuff. And this movie almost killed me. And I got all the way through 2 pages of notes, and then I clicked the thing because Julie was leaving, and I was like, oh, hey, she left. But like, I clicked the button, and it said we were not even halfway through the movie. They hadn't even left Earth. They were leaving Earth to go stop the moon, and we were only an hour into this almost 2.5 hour movie. Like, are you kidding me? I thought that was the climax of the movie. Like it was gonna wrap up in 20 minutes, but no. And I think that's something too, is because I knew this was a 2.5 hour movie. I stopped it after 59 minutes or something like that, and I thought I had been watching the movie for over 2 hours. So
Yeah.
the pacing is just terrible. Everything is in its own scene. There was never one like catch-all scene that did multiple things. Everything that they wanted to happen had to have its own set piece, location, characters, and they had to explain how they got places. And that's something that could easily balloon a movie. I'm not talking about just in time, but also like in budget. This movie costed how much, and we got what out of it? This movie would have been better if it was half as long and cost half as much money.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the technical aspects, even down to like the editing, was really weird.
Terrible.
Like scenes would just kind of like chop off, or dialogue would come in weird
and
times.
Julie
Yeah.
said the same thing, and she normally doesn't really care about that stuff, which is great because then I don't have to like. There's not 2 people pointing it out, and and she was like, "This is terrible. The editing is so bad."
Yeah, it's like disorienting.
And what's interesting is Don't Look Up has been maligned for its editing, but its editing had like a very distinct style. It was purposeful. Like there had jarring scenes like that, and it was pretty, to me at least. Some people disagree, but it was pretty obvious that they wanted really like abrupt cuts between locations to show you that things were happening quickly.
Yeah.
And this took the opposite. They had really abrupt cuts because if they didn't, then if they took 5 seconds to fade every scene out or do a scene transition, the movie would run 3 hours
3.5.
long. It's insane.
I feel like this movie had no style, and the style was making money. Like, this is solely a profit vehicle, down to the many corporate sponsorships. Were you guys tracking?
Oh shit, we're in eco mode.
Oh god. There was literally like a 2-minute long Lexus commercial in the middle of this movie. Like,
I like how he switched it into sport mode and outran the Audis. Like, I that was my favorite part of the Lexus.
well, it's
showing.
obviously a digital car too, and like the ice is like accumulating on it, you know, as it drifts through this town, and it out jumps all these cars.
I've got it.
Jason.
This is the moon. Okay, we just talked about scientific inaccuracies. I'm gonna hit 2 that really peeved me, and then I'm gonna hit 1 that I thought was hilarious. One time the moon passes literally right above them and sucks out the entire atmosphere.
Yeah.
The second time it killing the stepdad, who it's just dipshit. Just share the mask with your daughter. Who everyone watching the movie is like,
take a breath.
like take a
stop
breath,
talking.
pass it, take a
Jesus,
breath,
like-
pass it. You walked like 10 additional feet after that, and then the second time it goes over. Oh, it actually just helps lift a tree off of the sun who's trapped
the
under.
first
It's
time it was ripping trees out of their roots.
yeah.
Second time it made it
it's like,
slightly lighter.
oh, yeah, oxygen's still here.
Yeah, wouldn't it pick up the people too if it's picking up trucks and shit? Like,
So that's what the second thing that I don't
Okay.
like about this is if it's reducing gravity,
Yes.
the
Jace,
amount of force that you're putting down through your
Yes.
tire is not going to make you accelerate faster because you're not going to be generating any force from friction with the ground. You're going to be pulling up. So like
Right.
with the helicopter earlier, it's kind of surprising that with the same amount of atmosphere, it's not like rising up faster because the downward force from the propellers. So they get hit by a tidal wave and they die. But moon overhead not make car faster.
Well, Jace, I thought you were going to go a different direction. So a change in gravity makes everything a percentage heavier or lighter.
yeah,
It doesn't make light things fly away and heavy things stay.
That's true, yeah.
Everything. It's
Yeah.
the fundamental definition of gravity takes into account how relatively massive the two objects are. So light things, that's already been taken into account when you account for how much force gravity puts on them. That's why they're lighter.
yeah.
And heavier things are heavier because there's already more. So like the moon coming overhead wouldn't make like, you know, water shoot up, but like people not. If it made one thing shoot up, everything
Yeah.
would shoot up, and it would all be constantly accelerating. Like
Yeah, that pissed me off. But the car's going faster thing really kind of blinded me into a rage.
like there's a fundamental misunderstanding about, and we had to also accept that the moon's gravity was artificial, right? Because like
Yeah.
it was hollow, so it wasn't that massive. It's supposed to be a neutron star inside, which fucking doesn't make any sense because
a white dwarf, Ryan. It's
oh,
not a
sorry,
neutron
that's
star.
even worse. But like the moon has a mass 1% of the Earth's mass.
Well,
Yeah, but
So,
a white
like-
dwarf doesn't.
Right. So how is that possible?
Because
It would
explain
gravity
it
would be
energy from the
less.
white dwarf spinning those rings inside means that it can do.
They explain that because of the technology in the moon, it can artificially alter its gravitational pull and its mass. Like some guy was saying that because
Artificially alter its mass.
yeah, they said something about that. Like because they said like, oh, even if the moon was this close, it wouldn't pull up our shit like
Well,
this. It's
yeah,
like,
I know, right? So that's them saying, wait, people might realize that we fucked up when we wrote this.
Yeah.
So it's like what happened in the last movie when I said like it's obvious they didn't. Oh, the core. When the whales, there was the wrong type of whales. They had someone voiceover say like, "Oh,
Yeah.
obviously those whales are lost."
Right.
it's like that. Like
It was
they were
very
like, oh,
defensive, yeah.
The whole concept of this movie doesn't work.
Well, you know they had an astronaut to advise on set, And he actually did try to like explain to people where he was like, "Hey, director, like this would be physically impossible to do." And the director the entire time was
Suck
like,
my
"Shut."
dick.
Yeah, he was like, "Shut the fuck up."
And
This
then
is
on
just
the
a
posters, they're
movie.
like, we had an astronaut on set.
And I want to think about like this poor guy who was just watching them film this shit or write it, and he's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Shut the fuck up, astronaut. It's gonna be a stupid movie."
Jace, if you're gonna derail it, then let me say this real quick. The spaceship scenes had no fundamental concept of how like that works.
Yeah.
You know how Interstellar, like there's like a whole scene explaining how when the ship turns, like you get force like off to the side, and that's why they had to match the spin of the ships and all this, and that's why they black out. And this ship, this in this movie, the ship is spinning like a freaking top, and Patrick Wilson's just chilling. And he's floating in midair, and he stops the ship from spinning, and he doesn't like slam against anything. Like he would still be spinning, and the ship would stop. And then there's another. I'm not done. There's another scene where there's the hole in the moon that the AI drilled into the moon. You know, that's how it accessed like the hollow got through the hollow. And they put a spaceship. They launch a probe, a bomb or something down it, and the spaceship is just hovering above the hole. But that's not how spaceships work around the moon. They orbit. It wouldn't be just floating there. And it doesn't even have any boosters on the bottom. It's not like it's hovering like a rocket, like a jetpack.
Yes.
It's just it wouldn't be there. And then the AI comes up and eats it like a freaking shark in Jurassic Park. And the thing would be halfway around the moon by then.
I wrote this. This was one of my gripes, is that they kind of set like, but beyond that, they kind of like set an expectation about how things were going to react in space, and how they needed to use like gas and propulsion retroactively to right themselves. And halfway through, before they get into the moon, they just say, "Okay, actually, fuck that." And the spaceship starts like shooting around and going, "Whoa!" And you're like
Like an X-wing.
you're like,
It's like Star
what the
Wars all of a sudden.
fuck?
Yeah.
I mean-
go ahead.
I seem to remember a thesis from the core where the group of scientists were like, if an audience picks up that a movie does not pay attention to scientific accuracy, it affects their enjoyment of the movie. And you guys did disagree with that thesis during the core, where you're like, no, a movie could still be good, just make it good. But I feel like it really hurt our enjoyment in Moonfall.
Yeah, okay. If I said that, then you can feel free to throw it in my face. There might have been a caveat with like, that it has to have some sensical break. Like if you're breaking physics, it has to have some explanation. But in this movie, there was another scene there was this 10-second long scene where they're in a spaceship at some point, this crew, and they're like, initiating turning, 15 degrees, 30 degrees. And it was like that scene in Austin Powers where the guy's like face is like half blown off and he's still doing the countdown manually. And like they do this whole scene where this ship rotates in space so that it can deposit something more effectively. But in the next shot, it's back to the direction it started in. Like the people watching, the people editing this movie were never like, yeah, we can save 30 seconds. Just get that whole scene out of there. We don't need the scene explaining that they're turning the ship if they don't actually turn it. Like,
Yeah.
stupid stuff like that. I think it just means that the people made this movie didn't care. They just literally didn't care. And that's what insults me so much. And I'm insulted that Denali made us watch it.
Ooh.
We had to watch this movie,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
We had to study it for the art. With a movie this deep, with just shitty details like that, I feel like you could make a whole other podcast episode just going over the science. And just there's so much weird shit. Like, I forgot. Did you guys look up like the Casper Sky sponsorship too? That was like another corporate sponsorship they did.
Yeah,
It
so
was-
I heard about people complaining that people were complaining about it, but I never even noticed what it was. I don't even know what that company is.
I had to look it up because it was so like, to me it seemed blatant because it was on like a big billboard when a car pulled up and it was on all their computers. And I had to look it up, and then the Casper Sky released a statement. They're like, we're proud to announce our corporate partnership with the movie Moonfall. And they just paid that. It's just a fucking antivirus company from Russia. And then, I don't know. I feel like Elon.
An antivirus from Russia? I'm not falling for that.
Yeah.
And then, just all the Elon shit in here where they're like, I love Elon. Like, it's just, fucking
It's
gross.
like 5 or
dude.
6
Like,
separate different throwbacks to Elon Musk or SpaceX or Tesla that it's just like,
Yeah, it's like we knew he was bad then, guys. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't.
The people who made the people who made those comments and wrote them in and were hired to make a conservative leaning apocalypse movie did not think that he was bad. Like that's the whole thing, and they still don't.
And like, I mean, even just today, like where he's talking about like coronavirus denial shit. Like it's just this dude's a fucking clown. We should not be giving this dude any attention. Like, oh god, just that's another. That was just like the cherry on top of the shit cake. I feel watching this movie.
You know, this movie was just too fucking scared to make
Of what, Jace?
the cat in the end say the line to John Bradley.
What line?
You're in the computer now. You're a part of the moon. When his consciousness gets scanned and he gets added to the moon's AI, and they
Yes.
show him his cat, and he says, "Oh, Fuzz Aldrin," which is a pretty funny name
Good
for a
name.
cat.
That was the best joke.
Good
of the
name.
movie.
And good joke too, because Buzz Aldrin punched that moon landing denier in that face the one time.
Well, he's a fucking denier. The character.
Oh,
Wait, Buzz
Aldrin?
Aldrin?
Buzz
you're
Aldrin's a
right.
denier.
That's really out of left field.
Yeah.
they show the cat, and I'm like, oh my god, please tell me that cat's about to talk.
Please.
And then it turns
yes.
around to his mom holding the cat in the wheelchair. And, you know, that's kind of heartfelt because that's the only thing his character really had going for him besides the megastructure was that he cared about his
Yeah.
mom.
So
But
if he's British living in America, why is his mom American and in a nursing home in LA?
Didn't he say she wanted to go back to America? Like I think his dad was British. Wasn't that the sitch?
I have no clue.
I wouldn't have picked up on that
I-
nuance.
These
tuned
little
out.
character details builds the movie, Ryan. It's very it made it that much better for me.
So I wrote at the beginning of the movie before we watched anything.
Mhm.
I said my prediction. This is gonna be Rebecca Black's Friday of movies.
What does that mean?
Like you know the
you
song.
can't get it out of your head.
You can't-
Yeah.
but it's absolutely terrible.
Okay, let's we are past the point where we need to rip on Rebecca Black.
No,
She
yeah,
has gotten enough
that-
fucking
That's
heat.
what I mean.
She
And
paid a
and-
bunch of money to have that song made
That's
by
fine.
a
And you know what? A
company.
bunch of
So
other
does
people do
every
it,
artist,
and
yeah.
they just don't get uploaded to the internet and made fun of. What I mean is, I was kind of wrong in that this movie was way worse and doesn't deserve even like to jokingly reference. And I'm not probably ever going to talk about this movie again unless I'm talking about how bad it is and how people shouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
The majority of the money in this movie went into some pretty cool and well done CGI action sequences. A double rocket shooting up against a fucking moon tidal wave. where it's
Jace, I
like-
would agree with you. Okay, look.
And I think that's the only redeeming quality of this movie.
I
In
would
space.
I would agree with you if it made sense. Like, action's cool if I can buy in. But it was just so by that point I was so burned
Yeah.
out because I thought that's what I thought it was like an hour in and I thought it was 2 hours. But it just wasn't cool because I was like, oh well, why can't that other helicopter also escape? It doesn't make it like it literally doesn't make sense. And at one point John Bradley's character says, "We're underwater," when he's in a space shuttle.
You think a rocket can't fly underwater?
Yes, I do think that.
Okay, let's get into the meters, guys.
Meters.
Woof.
A meter time.
This is going to be fun. I think this meter thing is going to be interesting. Okay, can we just jump right into disastometer?
Yeah,
Oh,
is
what
it?
was
We're
it
doing.
called?
I like disastometer. I was.
Disastometer's pretty good. That's it
What?
worked.
No, I just winged that. No, let's do apocalyptometer.
Fuck.
Because I was at Ryan, like my next breath was suggesting disastometer, and you saying it just like made me so excited. Do you not want? Yeah. I was like thinking of disastometer earlier. Do you want to keep doing apocalyptometer?
I want
it's your season.
apocalyptometer. That's pretty good.
Okay, apocalyptometer.
So,
Let's do it.
Audience, we have 2 rating systems. Do not be confused by the first rating system and think we're all insane.
Yes,
The
it's
first
so important.
rating system is how well the movie fits in this theme. Does it hit the right points? Does it have the requisite disaster? Yada yada yada. This is a little bit more clear when it's an actor, I think, sometimes because like you can kind of say, oh, is this actor out of place in this movie or not?
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to be voting first. How much of a disaster movie is this? Is it serious? Is it really impending? Would people really die? Is it stoppable? Does it actually happen? Those sorts of questions. Second, we're going to rate the movie as a movie. That's a completely separate movie meter.
Yes. So important.
Yeah. Because I want to make that very clear. Because I'm giving Moonfall a 10 out of 10.
Ryan loves it. Ryan loves the movie. All right.
Ryan's a Moonfall stan.
No, I should actually... No, wait. Hold on. I should actually say... Last time I said... No, fuck it. I'm going to go 10 out of 10. Last time I said whether or not it happens is part of it too. But the moon fell.
It fucking did.
So...
Okay, well, yeah, fuck you, the core chord.
the whole damn time.
The whole core
The fifth
chord.
elemented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it hit all the points. It was a big disaster. I guess I disagree with the movie how bad it would be, right? Like, it would
You don't think it would
completely
be that bad?
obliterate the Earth.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we would turn back into a hot lava
Yeah,
world.
the first pass would have done
It only has 1% of the Earth's mass, but it's just huge. It's unlike any other. It's not like an asteroid hitting the Earth. It's like the moon is bigger than Mercury from a diameter standpoint, I think. And so, like, they were just kind of, some people were just like casually like running to Colorado. Oh, let's go to Colorado. It's kind of nice this time of year. And I think that I'm tempted to deduct a point for that. But I don't think there's much else to say. Roland Emmerich is the disaster man.
He's the disaster master.
There's nothing really to be said, I think, for me, because everything else would be just shitting on the movie, which happens in the next meter.
All right. 10 out of 10. Ryan, do you think the moon's hollow? Just squash this right now for the audience.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to plead the fifth on this one.
Oh, it's up in the air, guys. All right, so Apocalymeter for moi, yeah, I'm also gonna rate this thing pretty high. So they did attempt the nuke solution. That's a check for me. Okay, it wasn't the solution that worked, but EMP's pretty close, and they did say they were gonna launch a bunch of nukes at it. All right, that's gonna be a check. Earth got pretty fucking trashed. There's gonna be a point there. Like, New York City got really fucked up in that scene. Like, a million asteroids hit it. There's the classic, I'm going to stay behind with the bomb. That's another check. I feel like that's been in pretty much every movie. Birds doing crazy shit. They dropped out of the sky. That's going to be another check. And then another thing is Evel Knievel jumping over something. That's going to be another check for disaster movies.
Yeah.
That was in Armageddon. They didn't quite have it in the core, but they had something close, and it was in this movie. This checks all the boxes, guys. I'm going to also give it a 10 on the Apocalymeter. It was pretty apocalyptic, too. Conceptually, a moon's coming for Earth. And, I know that doesn't make sense, but they put an alien in it, too. So Earth's going to be fucked. That's all I'm going to say. And the moon's hollow.
Fuck.
Okay, it's not hollow. Okay, Chase.
Oh, that's you're saying. Denali said it. The Earth is hollow.
The Earth is hollow. Hollow Earth. Oh,
And it's filled with cool technology.
Oh, the Earth. Did you ask me if the Earth was hollow or the moon?
No, I said the moon
moon.
for you. I think the Earth is hollow and has another moon in it.
The Earth.
Oh.
I think mole people Earth doesn't get enough theory.
Mole
Like during
people
the
Earth.
center of the Earth stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, mole people are tight. Shout out to our mole people listeners. I know the waves reached down to you guys, and just happy to have your viewership. Jace, what do you think? What do you think for your Apocalymeter?
I think this is absolutely the first time that the Hollow Earth megastructure has been used for an apocalypse-themed movie. And I'm going to agree with you right up there that it's 10 out of 10. And some of the other salient points that this movie hit, even though, we're rating how apocalypsy it is. So I deep down in the bottom of my heart, I pray to the apocalypse gods that we get some more 10s this season. But I love that the United States government once again swept this under the rug.
We did it, baby.
Congratulations. Half of the problem is because of you. The main astronaut who goes through his hardship, played by I hate Patrick Wilson. Played by Patrick Wilson.
Where is this Patrick Wilson heat coming from?
He gets
movies.
fired. He gets fired because, well, in his mission he was negligent, even though the big crazy space worm killed his buddy. And then we find out, halfway through the movie that the government was like, well, he just wasn't playing ball. He didn't want to let it go. So we ruined his life, and then we didn't tell anybody about the big moonworm. And then Donald Sutherland is like, oh yeah, there were crazy lights on the moon. And then they tried to nuke it. And just like Denali said, that's a whole lot of points for this movie. in the apocalypse. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Guys, I brought us our first triple 10 of the season. It's undeniable.
I can't rip on you too much for that, dude, because this was a disaster movie. It might be up there as like the disaster movies of disaster movies. I can't think of much else. Even in Don't Look Up, like, I think the moon is bigger than the asteroid in that movie. They weren't like, oh shit, it's Mars.
Wasn't there a movie called Disaster Movie in the 2000s?
Yeah,
Spoilers!
the funny movie with
Jesus.
Seth Rogen.
Okay. This next part is the actual movie meter. All right, we had a lot of fun.
Brace
now let's
yourselves.
talk about what we actually think about this thing from a movie, good or bad.
Yeah.
And it can go either way.
It could. You never know. You
can go
never
either way.
know. I'm gonna open up and say I don't know what to rate this movie because I can't remember where my scale bottomed out when we watched Air Bud 5. I think I might have felt compelled to give Air Bud 5 a 1, like technically, because the scale goes from 1 to 10, not from 0 to 10. But so I'm gonna have to give this movie a 1, and yeah, that's pretty much. No, never mind. It's not all I have to say about that. I can go on for hours. Let's start. My biggest problem with this movie was that there was a scene. It was nighttime. Okay, it was established that it was nighttime. I'm pretty sure. John Bradley's character calls NASA, and someone in the gift shop picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I just work at the gift shop. I can't connect you to the director of NASA." And then he hangs up the phone. And it's supposed to be like, "Oh yeah, haha, he doesn't know actually how to get in contact with anybody. He's on the outside." Why was this woman sitting in the gift shop at NASA at night answering the phone? Like, the lights were off.
It was probably online orders. You know, NASA doesn't sleep.
Like, it doesn't make any... Like, that was so dumb. It was at that point when they were like, "Oh, man, we wrote this joke. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know, just turn the lights off." Like, it does... Like, stupid things like that took me out of this movie. And I've got, phrases like, "The moon has entered an elliptical orbit." It goddamn better have! That's where it started! Like an elliptical orbit is... Everything's an elliptical orbit. If something entered a perfectly circular orbit, that would be weird AF. And it would last 0 seconds. That's not the way it happens. Like, everything is elliptical. Like, okay, I'll continue because I'm not going to get on that. This had the worst court scene ever. The worst court scene I've ever seen in my life.
I was wondering about this.
Because there's a court, and the person is brought out, and the attorney doesn't say anything. I don't think the prosecutor was even in the freaking room. And then the judge just starts rattling off all this stuff, and the dad starts arguing. That is just not... It's just not the way it works. Much like the physics, that's just not the way it works. The same with the courtroom scene. That's just not the way it works. Yeah.
Court meter? 1 out of
0.
10?
1.
Okay,
0 or 1. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So you rated this movie a 1?
I guess, yeah. Technically.
A 1? Okay.
I reserve the right to modify my meter at the end of the season when we get to stay to the podcast and we find out that Airbud got a 0.
All right. For my movie meter, I mean, as far as thumbs up, thumbs down goes, it's probably gonna be a thumbs down. This movie is designed clearly to be a blockbuster, and it's so obvious, and it's really cringy to watch something that's trying this fucking hard. Like, it seems like a panel of experts was consulted for this movie, and they wanted to craft something that would be a hit. But it was just a tonal mess. It feels really defensive in its dialogue, like what Ryan was saying, and its humor. And it's kind of like almost like it's anticipating people to scoff at it. So it's like, oh, but this, but they don't try hard enough in that realm. I'm just kind of like in awe at how little care was seemingly put into so many aspects of this movie. Honestly, they could have made something that was actually fun and maybe self-aware, but it kind of gets in its own way by trying too hard. And then they could have even taken this ridiculous premise and played it like totally straight, and it could have been better that way. It just failed fantastically by trying to do everything at once. It tried to be funny, it tried to be serious, it tried to be touching, but I feel like the director didn't know what to do with this, and that might speak to why it wasn't funded by mainstream Hollywood avenues. I did read that one of the ways it picked up a lot of money was during a film festival where they showed this CG scene where the moon kind of goes over the horizon and kind of sucks a bunch of things up, and it attracted like $100 million in investments. I feel like that thing was the money shot, and it was the only thing the movie had going for it. Was like, wouldn't it be crazy if this happened? And everything else was an afterthought. Which sucks, man. Like, this could have been really interesting. Like a hollow ass moon movie, it could have been like played for laughs in a much better way. So it's just it fucking sucked, dude. Their end credits ended with a Moonfall themed dance track, which was also really cheesy. Anytime a movie ends with a track like that, that's how you know it's dog shit. I also read test audiences loved the track, which, again, test audiences for this movie.
Is that why Hollywood's been pumping out so many shitty movies? Where the hell do they get these things?
It's so, for me, it's going to be a big old moon, a big old zero. I don't think I liked any aspect of it. I had to watch it in 30-minute bursts because I was getting too angry or too disengaged. So I watched this over a period of like 3 days. It was that fucking bad. And it still felt long. Zero.
That's what I had to do with Boogie Nights.
What?
Didn't you like Boogie Nights?
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, okay.
I'm still honestly kind of trying to digest, and for the life of me, I was hoping to have prepared to the point where I could give something that wasn't a rambling mess.
Yeah, that's the way I totally just, I know what you mean. And my review, I was like, I can explain why this movie's bad. And I was just like, I looked down at my notes, and it's just notes on scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, much like the movie itself.
Yeah.
It's hard to pin down.
My first note at the outset of this movie is, let's hit every sad cliche we can. Divorced, poor, piece of shit, dysfunctional, all for a comeback story. And my last note is, didn't really even happen. And in the middle of that is what very likely could have been like a mecca in 2022 for CGI and just visual design for this movie. But like rampantly throughout the film, the story, I don't really understand or care really at all about the families, because even the movie's just shoehorning them in. I don't care about the general, or I don't know, was he the president of the United States who was previously married to Halle Berry, who has a kid whose entire personality is, I know I don't see my kid, but we have to take care of him. And like, it's a mess. It's all over the place. And I think there are two times where you'd watch this movie. The first time is if you shed your skin 3 times a year, you like sitting on warm rocks and you eat bugs because you have a lizard brain. Or if you're already recovering from the worst hangover you've ever had, and the next 2 hours of your life really don't matter that much anyway. So, I'll also give it a 1. I'll give it a 1.
A 101. Hopefully the lowest will go this season, but we have plenty of runway left.
I think the disaster movie is pretty bad.
Pretty low. And you know what? Oscar season's coming up, so we'll see how this movie fares.
There's always a chance.
Always a chance.
The inside of the moon was cool as fuck for the design. And honestly,
cool.
the space
could
robot,
win,
the voxel, like the tiny, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they ruined it.
I actually said the AI thing. I was like, oh, that's actually really rad. And it killed those dudes. That was pretty heavy metal. It just didn't make any sense.
Could have been like Suicide Squad, how they won an Oscar and Citizen Kane didn't. And people always say that Suicide Squad has more Oscars than Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
I do love that within the last year that one bad review came out for Citizen Kane. But that's like,
knocked it down from 100?
It's not 100.
God damn. The king has fallen. Much like the moon, let us know what you think about Moonfall. You like this movie? Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down. DM us. Hit us up and let us know if you like the review. Maybe there's Moonfall stans out there who fucking love this movie. Buzz, if you're listening, Buzz Aldrin, did you like
Patrick
a review?
Wilson and Halle Berry? Sorry.
I like Patrick Wilson. I don't like his movies. I don't know.
No, he's good in the like in Insidious and The Conjuring.
Passengers.
That's
Yeah.
the one movie I'm gonna give him. You're right. I love Insidious.
His
Insidious is a great movie,
face is iconic because it has the devil right behind him.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus, that was so scary. Shit my pants in the theater. I actually that got a real scream out of me in the theater. I think I threw
It's
popcorn.
one of the scariest scenes ever. Yeah.
Okay, that was it for Moonfall. The moon's gone. It fell, and now it's time for a new disaster. Ryan, I believe you're in the captain's seat. What do you got for us next week?
Okay, so disaster movie, end of the world movies, hugely broad category. So far, we've seen movies that are unequivocal disaster movies. The moon is literally hitting Earth. It's end of the world. We've seen movies like The Core, where the core's exploding and people are gonna die. Fifth Element, it's still kind of the same thing. We have this force coming from space, or something to do with something like that, and it's gonna kill all people. And I want to go in a different direction and talk much more about what you guys were asking. Does this count? Does this count? Does this count as the end of the world movie? Whereas like the end of the world has already happened, and I want to choose a movie I haven't seen. I have been wanting to find conveniently, and haven't yet. And I'm pretty sure neither of you have seen. And we're gonna watch a 1995 movie directed by Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys.
I've seen 12
Oh
Monkeys.
shit.
Oh, you've seen 12 Monkeys?
12
Damn it.
Monkeys.
I have not seen it.
I've seen, I think, the first half at a sleepover as well, but it's
Oh,
been
yeah.
it's
I
been a
haven't
long
seen
time.
any of it.
Hell yes. Is this an apocalypse movie? I don't know.
I don't
anything about
know. And so I'm not looking up the plot. I can see you guys looking at the computers. I don't want you guys to look up the plot too
Well,
much.
shouldn't you look up at the just at least know
I
it
know,
fits in your?
I know enough
Okay.
that it's a at least purportedly could be
Okay.
an end of the world movie. And I think part of this season is going to be figuring out whether like the edge cases. Like it's obvious that Moonfall was a movie, therefore we had to watch it. Like
Your Fifth Element wasn't compared to you guys.
well, yeah, no, it ended
We
up being
allowed
way
fifth-
more than I thought. So then we could take these other ones that people might not think of as end of the world movies and see if they fit the framework.
Okay. So sweet. This will be a different direction. I think I'm also relieved because if I have to watch like one more fucking tidal wave, I'm gonna like lose my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. I don't know what the cause was of this movie. I'm excited. 12 Monkeys. I think that's also on some type of streaming.
I don't think it's on streamings.
Well, piss. It's
So
$4.
that's what I mean. I can't find it.
Oh, come on, Brett. And we got a visit from an old friend too.
Bruce
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, $3.99 everywhere. It's looking like.
Bruce Willis
Shit.
is attracted to the end of the world.
Yeah, he's kind of like Roland Emmerich, except in like the actor.
99
capacity.
cents on Prime Video right now.
Oh shit, 99. I'm gonna rent it real quick. How much is that? That's like how many per monkey is that?
8.
Wait. It's 8 cents per monkey. About
8.333.
8.25.
Once.
Thank you guys for joining us this week. Join us next week for 12 Monkeys. Send us a review. Follow us on fucking Instagram. I'm not really doing Twitter anymore on our
No,
shit.
that's
It's
fine.
too much
Fuck
work.
Twitter.
That's
and
fine.
fuck Twitter and fuck Elon. So, is there anything you guys want to just close out with to our audience? Any words of wisdom? Any advice?
Yeah, stay the hell away from Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
Does he make a lot of movies? I think he does. I think he still makes movies.
I think not very often.
Yeah, I did read instead of using extras in this movie, they used a lot of CGI, and he said that's what the future of movies is. And as someone
Not
who's a
wrong.
professional extra, I take issue with that.
Instead of exploiting 16 people on a set for 12 hours, we can make one dipshit in front of a computer do it.
And
Unless I'm the dipshit, yeah.
well, you know how like some directors have their movies have like a theme.
Mm-hmm.
How did he get shoehorned into that? Like, what's wrong with his brain?
Okay, there's articles written about Roland Emmerich about his obsession with hating Earth.
The
and
Earth
he's
exists.
like,
He took offense to that.
he just has this fucking fetish with just destroying the world. I don't know. I think he's a sick man. And Roland, if you want to hire me as a role, I'll do anything. I'll do anything in your movies. Thank you guys for joining us.